Oh, it's suffering from my POV because I haven't uploaded part 2 yet. But I don't think anybody's gonna bite their thumb or whatever the saying is. But I digress. Okay, part 3 of what if future Yamcha survived. Okay, so your boy is out here, and this is like right after the android issue. Okay, like these niggas are sobbing. Okay, but Gohan came through with the big clutch. But now let me explain something here. Gohan has never actually had proper training in the future timeline, okay? And this has been explained throughout dozens and dozens of videos, okay? And if y'all need me to, I could do like a mini part explaining like how this timeline differs, right? So with Gohan, he was already upset in the first place of, you know, not being able to save nobody, but he's made more of a connection with everybody throughout the 6 months prior to the androids attacking, because he was with Yamcha. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying everybody was kumae and everybody was like best buddies, but he might have seen Krillin a couple of times, he might have seen Tien a couple of times. Now, and I also did say that Piccolo wasn't willing to train him. But I'll justify that by saying Piccolo was like, you don't need to be training. You don't really need to be training during this time of peace. You probably need to go be a scholar or something, right? Or some shit like that. So now he went Super Saiyan 2 very, very briefly. But he was in more control than he's ever been, because remember when Krillin had the flashback and talking about how Gohan might be like his savior and Yamcha's technically the strongest human before everyone died, right? Okay. Yamcha, knowing this, he helps Gohan focus on his inner ki and help Gohan contemplate on his anger. And without Yamcha saying anything, he's seeing Gohan go Super Saiyan at bare minimum during the meditation. But the problem is he wasn't able to maintain that. And he tells Gohan, that feeling you're feeling right now, control it, harness it, focus on it. So that's what Gohan was able to do. And since the only person that fucked with your Gohan during this whole incident was on the cusp of dying, and he was too powerless to stop him, in retrospect, it pushed him over the edge even more, okay? Now you may say, oh, he should have been ahead and go ahead and win Super Saiyan. But I feel like if I made this variation of Gohan go Super Saiyan already, it won't set up for what I'm trying to go for. That's why I had him go Super Saiyan 2 to make it even more of an issue. Since he's worked on control and he's also trying to work on focus, he hasn't completely snapped as quickly, because he's not inherently trying to suppress it, but he's also not inherently trying to embrace it just yet, okay? I do apologize for this audio this time around. It's just the only time I really can record. So this is why he had like a snapping of the bottle, if you may, or popping of the lid. So he snapped more than he intended to, okay? But let's talk about the aftermath. Enough explaining. The aftermath is Gohan's out for a couple of weeks while Yamcha is doing some minor training by himself, and he's also was able to work on something. He also tried to remember something during back when the Saiyans were attacking, and he went up to the tower, and he was like, wait a minute, we trained up here during the Saiyans. And like he starts reminiscing with a tear in his eye, low key, and he's like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. He's gonna be thinking about like mini flashback about like them training and how crazy it was. Like he swear to God that shit was like yesterday and all this shit, okay? And I digress. He keeps looking around and he eventually finds like this area. Basically it's the time room, what is the time chamber. He finds the time chamber, and there's like a note to and it's in Popo's voice: to who this may ever concern, if you see this note, that means I'm no longer here. I think Popo wouldn't be dead, but let's say he went somewhere or something, okay? He's like, to whoever this may concern, this is the room of spirit and time. One day here is equivalent, one day outside is equivalent to a year in here. May you use this to prevent the menace or the plagues that have, come to earth, or something like that, or Popo-esque. So with that being said, Yamcha says there ain't no way. He's had a couple of ideas that he wanted to try, but he didn't know if it was gonna work or not. And he doesn't want to test it when the androids can attack at any time. So he's like, Gohan's been out for a couple of weeks or so. He looks over and realizes there's like a load of food. He's like, and Yamcha don't eat that much anyway, so he's like, all right, bet. So he goes ahead and hop in that bitch, bro. And for him, bro, he is training his butt off. And we would literally have like a mini montage. Damn. We would literally have a mini montage of many times he were gonna give up and just yield to his training because it was too difficult. But he'll just be like, nah, Krillin would be disappointed in me. Or Yamcha, not Krillin, Krillin would be disappointed, Tien would be disappointed. And then like at the peak of his training, he's like, I gotta show Vegeta humans can surpass their limits too. Then, like right when he really was about to cave, he swear he heard Goku's voice. Come on, Yamcha, I know you're stronger than that. You can do it, buddy. And then Yamcha does it. Power flowing through him. Energy coursing through his body. His eyes is a different color. His aura more wild and more sinister than it's ever been. And Yamcha with this deep, like, almost not robotic, but almost demon-like voice. I've done it! I've done it! And then he powers up, his aura exceeding mass amounts, like proceeding out of his body. And then he passes out and screams, I did it. Yamcha is unconscious for maybe a couple of days or a couple of weeks. Wakes up, mad hungry, okay? And then he goes to get food and clean up, and he's like, damn, how long have I been in here? He looks at his tally and realizes that he's been here for almost a year. And he's like, damn, I need to get out of here. And after he finishes up his last roundabout of training, he goes out to go check up on Gohan, but he's like, yeah, Gohan should be awake by then. But as he's flying, he realizes something. He's like, wait a minute. It's only been a day. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe I just thought about this. Why didn't I just wait for Gohan? But then he remembers reading the note and it said a normal person's allowed to do 2 years of training. But the thing would close forever, but that's been retconned, so we're gonna retcon that too. And he's like, the recommended amount of time for training is 2 years max. Anything more than this, and it might be too mentally straining on the individual, and they might go insane or some shit like that, okay? So Yamcha's like, perfect. I can train with him, get him strung up, help him learn Super Saiyan. Yes. And so Yamcha's really feeling himself, right? And so this is where things get interesting, okay? Which is actually where we're about to end it off, but not just yet. So Gohan eventually wakes up, but before he woke up, Yamcha made it back. Androids are attacking, okay? And Gohan rushes out against Bulma's wishes. I can't just sit here and do nothing while my master's out there fighting those monsters, those machines, the killing machines. I'm sorry, Bulma, but I have to go. Ha, boosh. And Gohan basically like jets out and flies off, bro. And he's just flying like, please don't be dead, Yamcha, with his hands in front of him. Please don't be dead, Yamcha. And then he hears something. He hears like this echoing roar. Wolf-Fang Fist! Ha! New technique! Wolf-Fang Fist Super! Boo, boo. And he's actually complex. He hears it, but he doesn't see it. Yamcha is actually putting up a decent fight against the androids. And Yamcha was like, ha! Finally! I'll show you, Vegeta. I'll show you the true capabilities of a human. Ha! and he proceeds to fight him. He's putting a good beat on him. But Gohan doesn't see that he's still flying, but he can just hear it. And he can also sense Yamcha's energy. And Yamcha starts getting ragdolled because of the stamina issue. And since he's not a Saiyan, I'm gonna also say that he's putting up a good fight, but he trained the form because he saw how taxing Super Saiyan was. So he decided to train the form itself to make sure he can turn it on and off, but he realized his shortcomings, okay? And he was like, damn, I can't even give Gohan this advice. And he proceeds to get beat on. Gohan frantically rushes in, and he was like, no, Yamcha! And then, with that momentary distraction, that's when the fight turned the tides. Android jumped that nigga, shot a ki blast at Gohan. Gohan, he's too injured. He's like, he tried to fly away, but it'd be one of those anime moments where they're like, no, I'm too injured. Fuck, I should have listened to Bulma. And then boom, ki blast. Boom, 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 boom. Multiple ki blasts. Yamcha eye gets cut. Boom, boom. No, it doesn't. Boom, 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 boom. More. And they're just covered in ki blasts, and they send off the final one. And then at that moment, they're both critical damage, and they're like, looks like that was a one-handed job. What do you say, sis? Android 18's like, oh, please, let's just go. They got my clothes. That fucking wolf boy over there got my clothes all dirty. Ha! That's what she said. You're so annoying. They fly off. And as you would have it, reminiscing, because it's going to be a triple reference, but referencing to when Gohan needed to give Trunks a pill, or not a pill, a senzu bean. Let's have a flashback here. When Krillin was hugging him, he was giving him 2 bits of information: the potential time chamber and senzu beans. And Yamcha had a handful of them, but he didn't want to just use them willy-nilly. And he also was kind of one-handed, if you know what I mean. So he opened it up and fed one to Gohan and was like, you're the future. I gotta make sure you live. And he started to slowly bleed out. And then Gohan woke up and he started spazzing. He was like, Yamcha? He looked at one of the senzu beans, but realized that Yamcha wasn't breathing. And he was like, Yamcha, no. And then he went Super Saiyan. Now let's explain. Gohan realized that Yamcha only got injured because of him. Like, if he didn't show up, Yamcha might have been able to actually take on the androids, okay? Like, he had them right there, 4K big lacking, okay? It didn't work that way, all right? So Gohan in Super Saiyan, actually controlling it for once, rushes over to Bulma and say, we got a problem. And then boom, bam, he gets healed up eventually. And we're gonna have a brief momentary time skip, but that's for the next part. Catch y'all later.